Welcome. In this next lesson, we will continue with our modify toolbar, and the next tool in this toolbar is what we call explode. Explode from the word, if you place your cursor on it, it will define it, meaning that it breaks a compound object into its component object. So how do we go about it? Let's assume that we want to explode a rectangle. So let's left click on the rectangle. Let's draw a rectangle here now. Drop it and you finish that command. You now zoom it. Now you've drawn a rectangle. You can see that by the time you place our cursor on the rectangle, the cursor is highlighting all the four sides of the rectangle, meaning that it's a solid object. It's an enclosed object. So now if you want to explode it, to break into its component parts, you left click on the explode. By the time you left click on it, you go to your command prompt. It says select object, so you follow what it says, select your object. By the time you select it, you see that everything has been selected. You now enter the object, and that's how explode works. You have exploded this object into its component parts. The lines can now move anywhere you want it to move. Now we are through with explode. Let's go to the next tool in the modify toolbar, which is called stretch. Stretch stretches object crossed by a selection window or polygon. Now we want to stretch the three sides 1, 2, and 3 to the right side of this model space. So what do? You left click, as I already said earlier, on the stretch figure. By the time you left click on the object, you now say stretch, select object. You select the side that you want to stretch. Now when you are using stretch, mind you don't pick it one after the other, or else it will not work. You press left click and drag on the place that you want to window. You left click and you drag. We've dragged on 3 sides of this rectangle that we want to stretch. So by the time you select those 3 sides, you now press enter. You now go to the outside of that object, of the rectangle, to click to specify the base point. By the time you specify that base point, now you now left click on it. You now see that the thing is moving around. So if you desire, you can make it straight by pressing F8. By the time you press F8, you can see that the thing is stretching. So if you want to stretch it to any figure, maybe let's assume you want to stretch it to 1000. You press 1000, you press enter, and that's it. This little that you stretch it is you stretch the rectangle by 1000. So that's how stretch also works. Before we go ahead, let's talk about this tool. We call it scale. Scale means if you want to enlarge or reduce a selected object, keeping the proportion of the object the same after scaling. I want to keep this proportion and I want to enlarge it. So how do I go about it? You go to your scale, you left click on your scale. By the time you left click on your scale, now scale select object. You now window, you left click and drag on your object. You left click and drag on your object. You see that if you have to drag on all the part of the object, you now press enter. By the time you press enter, you now tell you specify base points. You can now pick from anywhere you want to specify. Let's specify from you can see that the thing is already increasing. So now you can now pick a scale file. Let's say we want to double this size. We just pick 2. By the time we pick 2, we press enter. You can see that the object has been increased. It has been increased times 2 of the size it was before. So that's how scale also works. I hope you are able to understand. We have done explode in this lesson, we have done stretch, and we have also done scale in this lesson. Thank you.